Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are stepping right into the shadows to break down a terrifying village legend, where a traditional symbol of protection actually becomes a deadly trap. We're going to unpack the exact mechanics of a curse that has haunted a village for 27 years. Through our narrative today, we'll dissect the lore, the timeline, and the horrific reality behind a ritual gone completely wrong. Get ready because this story twists literally everything you might know about traditional protective charms.
Nimbu Mirchi, the classic lemon and chili. For generations, hanging this little charm on a doorway has been the absolute gold standard for warding off evil spirits and bad luck. But what if we completely flip that trope on its head? What happens when the very thing you use to shield your home is actually a homing beacon for a demon? That is the chilling reality the characters in our source material are facing, and it's going to act as the foundation for the whole mystery we're unraveling today. So, let's set the scene. Picture a tense village square. The atmosphere is just thick with panic. 27 years ago, the village borders were magically bound to keep a horrific demon out. Everyone totally believed this powerful woman named Dai Ma had banished the creature for good. But the rituals were unfinished. They were bound not just with soil and stones, but with blood. And now, the terror is back. The demon has actually breached the perimeter, and the villagers are terrified because the one person who knew the ritual, Dai Ma, is long gone.
Okay, let's dive right into this with part 1, the 27-year-old curse and Parul's mysterious death. The village is in full-blown crisis mode. The demon is inside the borders. So in their absolute desperation, the villagers resort to what they know best. They hang Nimbu Mirchi on every single door. They really think the lemon and chili will weaken the demon, but the village leadership, they know this is just a band-aid, a temporary fix. They desperately need a permanent solution. And their only real hope lies in finding Dai Ma's daughter, Myra. The catch? Myra was only 8 years old when Dai Ma supposedly died 27 years ago, and she vanished right after. The villagers believe only Dai Ma's direct bloodline can perform the ritual to save them.
Well, that temporary fix fails almost immediately. Two friends, Parul and Mira, are walking home at night, checking the doorways. All of a sudden, Parul feels this freezing chill. She looks around, nothing, but an unseen entity strikes. The very next morning, her body is found in the village center, and as our source describes, it is entirely drained of blood. But what's truly unsettling here is the reaction of her best friend Mira. Mira shows absolutely zero grief. She basically tells the village leader, the Sarpanch, that fear is more important than mourning, and she casually walks home. Once she's inside, she pulls out a hidden ivory box, puts on a necklace made of coal, and just stares at herself in a mirror. Clearly, Mira knows something the rest of the village doesn't.
We're shifting perspectives now. Let's look at part 2, the Sarpanch's terrifying discovery in the archives.
Suspecting something is deeply wrong, the Sarpanch uncovers a dusty ledger from 1998. This takes us back 27 years to when Dai Ma bound the village. But this ledger reveals a really dark secret. That exact same year, 12 people disappeared without a trace, just gone, their deaths completely unrecorded. Later that year, Dai Ma is officially recorded as dead. But here is the massive aha moment in the present day. The Sarpanch finds the document detailing Dai Ma's ash immersion in the river, and there is absolutely no priest's signature. The ashes were never scattered. The Sarpanch realizes with total horror that Dai Ma never actually died.
Things are about to escalate quickly. Here is part 3, unveiling the dark truth of the Nimbu Mirchi. See, the villagers firmly believe the Nimbu Mirchi is a protective ward, a shield to keep them safe. But the dark, twisted truth, it's actually a demonic incubator. Back at Mira's house, the horrific reality plays out. She isn't using that lemon to ward off evil. Not at all. She sits in front of her mirror with this incredibly twisted smile, cuts the lemon right off the charm, and squeezes its juice into a bowl. She mutters that it's time for their new life. And from the shadows steps Dai Ma. She's alive, and Mira casually hands her the bowl of lemon juice to drink.
Now, what's really interesting about this setup is the twisted anatomy of the spell they're using. Let's break it down meticulously. First, the kohl, the koila that Mira wears around her neck. In this specific ritual, kohl is not just some mineral. It acts as a dark anchor. It's literally the binding agent that holds onto the stolen life force from their victims, keeping the entire spell grounded and active.
Next up, the 7 chilies. In many Eastern traditions, as you might know, the body has 7 chakras, or energy centers. But here, those 7 chilies in the charm have been completely hijacked. They aren't repelling negative energy, they are representing those 7 chakras. They act as dark conduits, twisting the natural energy of the living and funneling it directly toward the entity they're trying to sustain.
Finally, we have the lemon itself. And honestly, this is the most gruesome part of the whole anatomy. The lemon acts as a womb. The intense sourness of the lemon juice doesn't repel spirits, it's literally used to resurrect rotting flesh. It gives Daima's decaying body new life every single time it's consumed. This entire protective charm is actually an elaborate feeding mechanism.
Armed with this horrifying knowledge from the ledger, the Sarpanch runs frantically through the village. He is screaming at the top of his lungs, physically tearing down the lemons and chilies from the doorways. He's begging the villagers to come outside, warning them that Daima is alive and she's been tricking them all along. But the village, it remains completely silent. Nobody comes out. He is standing there entirely alone in understanding the true threat.
Which brings us to our final confrontation. Part 4. The climax and Daima's terrifying ritual.
Stepping out of the shadows, Daima taunts the Sarpanch, bringing up old grudges against his father and the village. But then, she drops a bombshell. She reveals the terrifying math behind her survival. 27 years ago, those 12 unrecorded disappearances the Sarpanch found in the ledger? Yeah, those weren't accidents. Daima sacrificed 12 innocent people just to secure her 8th life.
So, the crucial point here is this new number, 9. Daima's 8th life is expiring, so she is now actively seeking her 9th life. And this curse requires fresh sacrifices. She chillingly informs the Sarpanch that Parul, the girl found drained of blood, was victim number 2 for this current cycle. And the Sarpanch himself, he is officially marked as victim number 3. The entire village is nothing but a harvesting ground for her continued immortality. The story just rushes toward the completion of this dark magic. The ritual of the 9th life kicks off with Mira handing Daima a chalice filled with the blood of 12 people, dedicated to the Lord of Demons. Daima drinks every single drop. The effects are instantaneous and extreme. She literally begins to levitate off the ground. A massive, blinding light bursts forth from the chest of the demon standing behind her, and she absorbs this light directly into her own body. You can actually see her rapidly de-aging, the wrinkles just melting from her skin as she absorbs the new life. It looks like a complete success. But then, step 4 hits. She experiences a sudden, incredibly violent physical failure. Her body starts shaking uncontrollably as if something in the ritual has just massively backfired.
The violent shaking stops, and the aftermath is absolutely grotesque. Daimea collapses hard to the ground, the physical transformation halted right in the middle. She's left half old and half young, just this completely botched resurrection. But here is the craziest part. Even as she falls, with her body completely failing her, she wears this deeply unsettling, twisted smile on her face. Mira calls out to her, totally confused and terrified by the failure.
As Daima lies there with that twisted smile, Mira slowly turns her head, and the source narrative ends right there. It leaves us hanging with this massive, unresolved cliffhanger. What happens next? Did the ritual actually fail, or is that smile a sign that the demonic entity has simply found a new vessel? The pure brilliance of this story is how it takes a comforting, everyday symbol of protection and morphs it into a complex, mechanical system of horror. It really forces you to ask, what if the things we use to keep the dark away are actually the very things inviting it in? Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive in The Explainer. Keep questioning what you see, and I'll catch you next time.